Hey guys, welcome to Feature Junkie. My name is Ed, and thank you guys for joining me today. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is Feature Junkie, where we talk all things movies, TV shows, streaming, all that really great stuff. And today, I'll be talking about a movie that I just recently saw for the first time ever. I went onto my Instagram account, and I asked my friends and families, what's a good classic movie that you guys would suggest? So I put a poll up with these movies, and the winner of that poll is Gladiator. Gladiator came out in 2000, directed by Ridley Scott, and it was starring Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, and Connie Nielsen. So right now, IMDb has this as an 8.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes scores this as a 78%, and 91% of Google users love this movie. So before I get into my reaction of this movie, I want to talk about the plot courtesy of IMDb. Maximus is a powerful Roman general, loved by his people and the aging emperor Marcus Aurelius. Before his death, the emperor chose Maximus to be the heir over his own son, Commodus, and a power struggle leaves Maximus and his family condemned to death. The powerful general is unable to save his family, and his loss of will allows him to be captured and put into the gladiator games until he dies. The only desire that fuels him now is to get the chance to rise to the top so that he will be able to look into the eyes of the man who will feel his revenge. So right off the top, I just want to say that I didn't even know if this was a true story or not. So I had to do some digging on this first because it just felt so historically accurate when it came to like the costume designs, the staging, the mannerisms, all that stuff. So I did my research, and no, Maximus is not a true character, but this movie was loosely based on real events that occurred in the Roman Empire in the later half of the 2nd century AD. Also, the director brought in some historians to get as closely historically accurate as they can be in this movie. My wife and I are actually going on a trip in October to Rome, and we're going to see the Colosseum, take the tour and all that stuff. So this was really cool seeing this movie and experience this first before going to Rome, because I just want to see how, for myself, how historically accurate everything looked in that stuff. So all in all, I felt like this movie transports you into that time period, and they do it really, really well. Another thing I found out was that Russell Crowe actually won the Academy Award for Best Actor in a leading role for this movie. You guys already know that Russell Crowe has been in this business for quite some time now, and it's really hard to find something that he's not good in these days. But in this character itself, the man was just set on vengeance and his rage, and you just felt that. Like, there was multiple times throughout the movie where he was supposed to die, but the only thing that fueled him to stay alive was getting his revenge. When you kill your wife and your son and your friend, you just felt like he wasn't going to give up until the end when he looked his enemy in the eye and killed him. So Russell Crowe, big shout out to him in this movie, did an incredible job. Now as for me, I want to talk about Joaquin Phoenix because of technicalities, he's considered a supporting actor to the leading role, but I feel like he should have won Best Actor for this movie because, man, like, he does such a great job just playing that sadistic psychopath. He's power hungry, he's spineless. Like, you hate this guy so much. Like, when you're talking about best movie villains of all time, you have your Darth Vader, you have your Thanos, but I feel like Joaquin Phoenix's character in this movie should at least be in the top 10 because he is really, really hated, and he's constantly persuaded for the urge to feel wanted from his father, from his sister that he's in love with, which is a whole crazy other different topic to get on. Another thing that hasn't been talked about in this movie, but they alluded to a little bit, is the mental illness aspect that Joaquin Phoenix has. Back then, that obviously wasn't like on top of everyone's mind of mental illness, but I mean, the fact that he wants a child with his sister and he just wants to feel loved, and just that whole dynamic with him, you kind of feel a little bit of sympathy for him, but his character is just so hated in this movie. Like, you just can't get past that. And I feel like Joaquin Phoenix tapped into this Commodus character to embody the Joker. As we all know, Joker 2 has been confirmed with Lady Gaga, and it's supposed to be a musical, and I'm really excited for that because I really love the first one. But back to this film, I think Joaquin Phoenix did an incredible job being the antagonist for Russell Crowe's character. And one more thing, when it comes to the storyline, I feel like they do such a great job in piggybacking off of history, so it feels so accurate. I really enjoy the aspects of when they say, like, you have to win the crowd in order to win your freedom. And, you know, to some degree, I feel like that's still relevant in today's society when it comes to politics and stuff like that. Usually nowadays it's just a popularity contest and stuff like that. So really cool to see that and how they handled that in that time period. He definitely achieves that through his bouts in the Coliseum when the crowd just loves him, and you can tell how strong their allegiance is with Maximus. An example of that is when Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix's characters are both dead in the middle of the Coliseum, and yet instead of taking the Emperor's body and carrying him away, they took Maximus's body, and you had everyone around them basically to rise him up and to take him away. It was a very poetic way of them showing the respect that they have for him, and then now he can rest in his next life with his wife and son. So all of that stuff, I think it's really, really cool that the way they did it. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. They had really great choreographed fighting scenes. As far as acting, I expect nothing less from Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. They did a phenomenal job, and I understand why this movie is a classic. And it's so crazy because you can kind of see how this movie influences other movies that are now coming out, just like The Northman, where the main character, his family dies, and he's set on vengeance and revenge, and he will not stop until he kills the person that killed his family. Ironically, they both end with the main character and the antagonist lying dead on the floor together. And there's so many other films that this movie has influenced. I do want to say one thing, that nobody warned me how long this movie was going to be. So I found myself a few times clicking pause of like just trying to see how long I had left in the movie. Overall though, just take a nap beforehand, get some snacks, and flip it on, you'll be good. I think you'll enjoy this movie if this is your first time watching it. And if you have already watched it, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on the movie as well. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please like this video and share with all your family and friends so that we can grow this community bigger and better. Hit that notification icon bell down below so you know when I'm going live or dropping new content. And thank you guys so much for joining me on Feature Junkie.